I'm Mike Shapiro. For over 3 decades, I've been a practicing clinical neuropsychologist. I'm also a Christian. So let's say you're a Christian and it's been recommended that you receive therapy or counseling. So if you can't find a therapist who's a Christian, what do? Do you stop the search or do you keep looking? Well, that's a good question, and here's some things I want you to consider. So, in your search to find a counselor or a therapist, I understand that you would like to see a Christian. I know Christians who are mental health professionals at all these different levels, but let's face it, there just aren't enough of them to go around. The first thing you should know is that there are a lot of different kinds of mental health professionals. Let's talk about the doctors. I'm talking about psychiatrists and psychologists. I'm often asked, what's the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist? Well, about $30 an hour. Simply put, psychiatrists are medical doctors. They're trained to use medication and to understand how medications interact with the body. Psychologists specialize in psychological testing and therapy. Then there's a plethora of people with master's degrees that go by different names. There's licensed professional counselors, licensed clinical social workers, and marriage and family therapists. You usually recognize them by their designations like LPC, LMFT, LCSW, NFL, FBI, CIA, WWE. Okay, not those last ones. So don't be scared to ask. What are your credentials? What is your experience with treating my condition? How long have you been doing this? What are your degrees? Don't be shy, be a wise consumer. So, if you're in the United States, every mental health professional, no matter what kind, has an ethical obligation to honor your personal worldview. So regardless of what kind of counselor or therapist you see, I would suggest that the first thing you should do is to make it clear that you're a Bible-believing Christian and that you won't do anything that goes contrary to the Bible or to your personal convictions. Counselors who are unwilling to accept that are not doing their job, and it would be my advice that you go elsewhere. The next thing you should keep in mind is that there really needs to be some kind of connection between you and your therapist. You should feel listened to, cared for, understood. If you don't feel that kind of connection with your therapist, it doesn't matter if he or she's a Christian, you won't get very far in therapy. Also, when you're searching for a therapist, whether or not the therapist is a Christian, you need to be able to work with your therapist to come up with a plan. You need to know the answers to questions like, how long do you think I'll be in therapy? How frequently will I see you? What are our goals? What is your approach to therapy? If your therapist can't give you a definite plan, it doesn't matter if he or she is Christian or not, you probably need to see a different therapist. So, although it might be helpful for your therapist to be a Christian, there are some other things you should consider that might be even more important. If you can find a counselor or a therapist who makes you feel listened to, who's respectful of your worldview, who has the experience and credentials to help you with your particular issue, and will work with you to come up with a plan, then I think you found a pretty good counselor. So if you've been searching for a while for a Christian counselor and haven't been able to find one, but you have found a counselor or therapist that meets these qualifications, I would advise you to stop your search and start getting the help you need. My wife and I have spoken extensively about this and other topics. If you'd like to hear more and want us to speak at your event, get in touch. But for now, there's another tool for your toolbox.
If you like this video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we release the next one. We hope that these videos inspire and encourage you.